A plane soars through the sky at full speed. But what if a spider's web was strong enough to stop it? Sounds impossible, right? You take a sip of your favorite drink, but what if I told you the key ingredient used to be a plastic bottle? And deep underground, in the most dangerous places on Earth, a surprising little creature is saving lives every single day. These facts and more will change the way you see the world. So stick around, because what you're about to learn will blow your mind. Number 36. The race starts, and within seconds, records are shattered. But was it pure skill, or something else? By the early 2000s, swimwear had evolved so much that certain suits made swimmers faster than their own skin. Therefore, full-body high-tech suits reduced drag and increased buoyancy, helping athletes glide through the water effortlessly. But not everyone was happy. Over 130 world records fell, sparking debates about fairness. Therefore, in 2010 the suits were banned, but not before they changed competitive swimming forever. 35. Think Hollywood is edgy now? But in the early 1930s, it was completely out of control. Movies featured scandalous scenes, passionate kisses, wild parties, and open mockery of religion. Therefore, in 1934, Hollywood introduced the Hays Code, banning nudity, lustful kissing, and even the word pregnant from scripts. But censorship didn't last forever. Filmmakers pushed back, therefore leading to the bold, boundary-pushing movies we see today. 34. For over 165 million years, dinosaurs ruled the Earth. Then, in an instant, they were gone. But what exactly happened? Scientists point to a massive asteroid that slammed into what is now Mexico, therefore throwing up so much dust and debris that it blocked the sun. Without sunlight, temperatures plummeted, plants withered, and food sources vanished. But while the dinosaurs perished, small mammals somehow survived. Therefore, life on Earth had to start over, this time with mammals rising to the top. It was one of the most extreme resets in history, proving that no ruler, no matter how mighty, lasts forever. 33. Dogs are called man's best friend, but could they also make you a better friend? Studies show that dog owners are 15% more extroverted than people without pets. But why? Dogs don't just love attention, they demand it. Therefore, their owners are constantly interacting with strangers, at dog parks, on walks, even just stopping for a quick chat on the street. But there's more to it than just small talk. Dogs bring energy, excitement, and unconditional love into their owners' lives. Therefore, people who live with dogs tend to be happier, more confident, and naturally more social. Maybe that's why they're always smiling, or maybe it's just all the fresh air. 32. You finish in the bathroom, reach for the soap, but shockingly, some people never do. Studies show that 15% of men and 7% of women admit to never washing their hands. Not once. Ever. But here's why that's terrifying. Without washing, bacteria from the restroom spreads everywhere. From doorknobs to food, even onto your phone. Therefore, diseases like norovirus, staph infections, and even hepatitis can travel from hand to hand in ways most people don't even realize. But there's an easy fix. Just 20 seconds of proper hand washing can reduce infections by up to 50%. Therefore, next time you see someone skip the sink, you might think twice before shaking their hand. 31. Imagine biting into fresh salsa expecting a burst of flavor, but instead you taste soap. If cilantro tastes horrible to you, it's not just in your head. Therefore, scientists found that a specific gene, OR6A2, makes some people extra sensitive to aldehydes, the same compounds found in soaps and detergents. But while one person might taste a delicious herb, another will taste dish soap. Therefore, no amount of convincing will change their mind. It's literally written in their DNA. Number 30. The world is racing to stop climate change. But going green isn't as simple as switching to wind and solar power. To limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius, the world needs an estimated 3 billion tons of minerals, including lithium, cobalt, and graphite. Therefore, demand for these minerals is expected to skyrocket by 500% by 2050. But there's a dilemma. Extracting these resources has its own environmental impact. Therefore, the challenge isn't just using clean energy, it's finding a way to power the future without destroying the planet in the process. 29. Some people learn things fast, while others rely on experience. But did you know your intelligence actually falls into two different categories? Psychologists call them fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence is your ability to think on your feet, solve new problems, and adapt to changes. But crystallized intelligence is different. It's the knowledge and skills you've built over time. Therefore, while fluid intelligence helps you learn new tools, crystallized intelligence is what allows you to use them. But here's the catch. Fluid intelligence declines with age. Therefore, lifelong learning is the key to keeping your mind sharp. 28. You buckle up, settle in, and take off. But what if your flight was exposing you to something invisible? Every time you fly at high altitudes, you receive a small dose of cosmic radiation. The higher you go, the less atmosphere there is to protect you. Therefore, a single flight from New York to London exposes you to about the same amount of radiation as a chest X-ray. But don't panic just yet. The radiation level is still low for occasional travelers. Therefore, unless you're a frequent flyer, your exposure won't be enough to cause harm. 27. The rain pours down, roads are slick, and water pools ahead. But it doesn't look that deep, so why not drive through? Every year, 66% of flood-related deaths happen because people attempt to drive through floodwaters. But here's what most don't realize. Just 12 inches of water can sweep away a small car. And at 2 feet, even trucks and SUVs lose control. Therefore, what seems like a harmless puddle can turn into a deadly trap in seconds. But the solution is simple. Never drive through water if you don't know how deep it is. 26. Hard drives get bigger, cloud storage expands. But what if the future of data storage wasn't digital at all? Scientists have discovered that a few grams of DNA could store all of the world's information. Therefore, instead of filling warehouses with servers, future data could be encoded into DNA molecules, just like nature has done for billions of years. But here's where it gets mind-blowing. DNA is incredibly compact and stable, meaning it could store data for thousands of years without degrading. Therefore, in the future, entire libraries, movies, and records could fit inside something as small as a sugar cube. Number 25. You pay for your coffee, grab your change, and go about your day. But what if that dollar bill in your hand was carrying more bacteria than a public toilet seat? Paper currency changes hands up to 110 times a year, collecting bacteria, viruses, and germs along the way. Therefore, every time you touch money, you could be transferring microbes to your skin, phone, or even food. But some currencies are worse than others. Therefore, materials like cotton and linen, found in US dollars, provide a perfect environment for bacteria to thrive. So next time you handle cash, you might want to wash your hands afterward. 24. A patient sits down with their surgeon, ready to explain their symptoms. But before they can even finish a sentence, they're interrupted. Studies show that surgeons interrupt patients every 14 seconds on average. Therefore, many patients never get the full chance to explain their concerns. But here's where it gets even more concerning. The busier the surgeon, the more likely they are to rush diagnoses and prescribe medications just to move on to the next case. Therefore, while time is critical in the medical field, sometimes the most important thing a doctor can do is just listen. 23. A single strand of spider silk looks delicate, but don't let its size fool you. This lightweight thread is 5 times stronger than steel of the same width. Therefore, if you could weave a rope just 2 inches thick, it could stop a Boeing 747 mid-flight. But despite its incredible strength, scientists still struggle to recreate it synthetically. Therefore, until we crack the code, spiders remain the world's most underrated engineers. 22. Dog people are outgoing, but cat owners? They think differently. Studies show that people who own cats are 11% more likely to be creative and non-traditional thinkers. Therefore, while they may be quieter, they're more likely to be artists, writers, or deep thinkers. But why? Some say it's the solitude. Others believe it's the independent nature of cats rubbing off on their owners. Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. If you need fresh ideas, you might want to ask a cat lover. 21. Plastic pollution is a global crisis. But what if trash could turn into something delicious? In 2021, scientists discovered a way to convert plastic bottles into vanilla flavoring using genetically modified bacteria. Therefore, instead of polluting oceans, old plastic could someday end up in food, cosmetics, or even medicine. But before you start imagining plastic-flavored ice cream, there's one catch. Scientists still don't know if it's safe for humans. Therefore, for now, your vanilla stays plastic-free. But maybe not for long. Number 20. If you tell someone you're a chemist, you might hear the question, can you make drugs? The answer, yes. But it depends on the level of expertise. Therefore, while any chemistry student could follow a basic formula to create certain compounds, a synthetic organic chemist with the right resources could recreate almost any small molecule drug, legal or illegal. But drug making isn't just about recreation, it's about innovation. Therefore, chemists are constantly designing new life-saving medicines, proving that science isn't just about knowing the rules, but rewriting them. 19. Ever noticed that some spicy foods burn, but others make your nose tingle like ice? The reason comes down to two very different molecules. Capsaicin, found in chili peppers, activates heat receptors in your mouth, therefore making your brain think you're on fire. But wasabi, mustard, and horseradish contain allyl isothiocyanate, which doesn't just burn, it travels up to your nose, stinging your sinuses and making you cough. Therefore, not all spicy foods are the same. Some set your mouth on fire, others send a shockwave straight to your brain. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our videos. 18. It's a common belief. Mosquitoes prefer biting women over men. But is that really true? Scientists found that gender isn't the biggest factor. Body heat and carbon dioxide are. Therefore, larger people, who naturally emit more heat and carbon dioxide, actually attract more mosquitoes. But that doesn't mean women are safe. Pregnant women, for example, release higher amounts of CO2 and have slightly higher body temperatures. Therefore, mosquitoes detect them more easily, making them a prime target. So, forget the myths. Mosquitoes don't care about gender, just how easy you are to find. 17. Imagine floating in space and suddenly realizing you have to pee. But what happens next is nothing like on Earth. Liquids behave strangely in zero gravity. Therefore, instead of falling, urine would float in suspended droplets. But if exposed to the vacuum of space, something even weirder happens. It wouldn't freeze right away. Instead, the lack of air pressure causes it to boil instantly, turning it into gas before finally freezing into tiny crystals. Therefore, if astronauts ever took a pee break outside the spaceship, their urine would first disappear into vapor, before eventually becoming frozen space dust. 16. A new pair of shoes can be exciting, but what if they're the wrong size? Surprisingly, 80% of women are wearing shoes that are too small. Why? Fashion plays a role. Many women prefer to believe they have smaller feet and size down instead of choosing the correct fit. But squeezing into smaller shoes isn't just uncomfortable, it can cause long-term foot damage. Therefore, podiatrists see countless cases of bunions, joint pain, and circulation issues caused by fashion over function. Therefore, when it comes to shoes, comfort isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Number 15. Jewelry, electronics, and Tide? But why would thieves target laundry detergent? Unlike luxury items, detergent is found in every home, making it easy to resell. Therefore, its high demand and lack of serial numbers make it nearly impossible to track. But there's a more surprising reason. It has even become a form of currency on the black market. Tide detergent, in particular, is frequently traded for drugs, stolen goods, and even cash. Therefore, something as simple as your favorite laundry soap is now a hot commodity in the underground economy. 14. Dogs are known for their loyalty, but what if goats had a hidden intelligence we never noticed? A group of scientists put goats to the test. They trained them to open a box for food, but then made the task nearly impossible. Therefore, instead of giving up, the goats did something unexpected. They looked to humans for help, just like dogs do. Therefore, goats aren't just farm animals. They may be far more social and intelligent than we ever realized. 13. Pale skin was once the ultimate beauty standard, but how far would people go to achieve it? In the 1800s, Victorian women didn't just apply makeup. They ate arsenic. Therefore, products like Dr. Rose's arsenic complexion wafers became popular, claiming to whiten skin by gradually erasing pigmentation. But arsenic is a deadly poison. Long-term exposure damaged organs, caused hair loss, and led to fatal poisoning. Therefore, the pursuit of beauty in the Victorian era wasn't just risky, it was deadly. 12. Trades are a normal part of sports. But what if a player was traded for himself? In 1962, the New York Mets needed a backup catcher. Therefore, they made a deal with the Cleveland Guardians for Harry Chitty. But there was a catch. He was traded for a player to be named later. The Mets didn't choose a replacement right away, planning to send a player back later. But after just 2 months, Chitty didn't perform as expected. Therefore, when it came time to send a player back, the Mets made an unusual decision. They sent back Chitty himself. He became the first player in history to be traded for himself, proving that in baseball, anything can happen. 11. Running a country is serious business, but that didn't stop President Warren Harding from making risky bets at the poker table. Harding was a gambling enthusiast, hosting poker nights twice a week in the White House. But one night, the stakes got dangerously high. Therefore, in a single reckless hand, Harding bet, and lost, an entire set of White House china that had been there for decades. But this wasn't just any china. It dated back to President Benjamin Harrison. Therefore, Harding's love of poker didn't just cost him a game. It cost the White House a priceless historical artifact. 10. Birds are known for preening their feathers, but some take it to a bizarre new level. They rub ants all over themselves. This strange behavior, called anting, has been seen in over 200 bird species, including crows, owls, and turkeys. But scientists aren't entirely sure why they do it. Therefore, some believe it's a way to keep their feathers healthy, while others think the ant's formic acid helps kill parasites. But what's even stranger? Some birds swap ants for beetles or millipedes, suggesting they know exactly what they're doing. Therefore, while the reason isn't fully understood, one thing is clear: nature always has a trick up its sleeve. 9. Police dogs track criminals. But what if I told you there's an animal that sniffs out landmines? And it's a rat? A Belgian charity trains African giant pouched rats to detect landmines and tuberculosis in countries like Cambodia, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. But these rats have a secret weapon. They're too light to set off landmines, and unlike metal detectors, they can tell explosives apart from harmless scrap metal. Therefore, they've saved countless lives, including one rat named Magawa, who won the PDSA Gold Medal, the highest honor an animal can receive. But he wasn't just another rodent, he became the first rat in history to win the award, proving that even the smallest creatures can be heroes. 8. The universe feels massive, but what if I told you that all 8 billion humans could fit inside an apple? Atoms make up everything, but they're mostly empty space, over 99% empty to be exact. Therefore, if you removed that space and packed atoms tightly together, the entire human race would shrink to the size of a single fruit. But don't worry, physics won't allow that to happen anytime soon. Therefore, we can all breathe easy, at least until scientists find a way to make it real. 7. Red hair is rare, but in ancient Greece, it was more than just unusual. It was a curse. Greeks believed redheads were different, but not in a good way. Therefore, they thought red-haired people would turn into vampires after death. But where did this belief come from? Some say it was because redheads had pale skin and burned easily, unlike the bronze-skinned Greeks. Therefore, myths mixed with superstition, and soon red hair became linked to the undead. But don't worry, redheads today are perfectly safe, as long as they avoid ancient Greek folklore. 6. New inventions often excite people, but for some, they bring fear instead. Technophobia, the fear of technology, has existed since the Industrial Revolution, when workers panicked that machines would take their jobs. Fast forward to today, and the fear hasn't faded. Artificial intelligence, self-driving cars, and automation all trigger anxieties about a world where humans might no longer be in control. But while some embrace innovation, others fear where it's all heading. Therefore, the question isn't just how far technology will advance, but whether everyone will be ready for it. 5. The whistle hadn't even blown yet, but the match was already over for one player. In 2007, during a Premier League game between Sheffield United and Reading, Keith Gillespie made history, but not the kind he wanted. He had just been substituted in when, before the ball was even back in play, he elbowed an opponent in the face. Therefore, the referee handed him a red card at exactly 0 seconds into the game. Gillespie never even touched the ball, but he still managed to get himself sent off faster than anyone else in Premier League history. 4. The Roman Empire was brutal, but their medical practices were sometimes even stranger than their battles. Gladiators fought to entertain, but after they died, their bodies became valuable, for reasons you wouldn't expect. Romans believed that gladiator blood could cure epilepsy. Some even thought drinking it was like consuming raw life energy. Therefore, fresh blood and even liver pieces were sold as medicine after every fight. But while ancient Romans swore by it, today's science suggests they were just desperate for a cure and willing to try anything. 3. It's contagious. It happens at random, but scientists still don't fully understand it. Why do we yawn? Some say it's the body's way of waking up a tired brain, therefore increasing oxygen intake and keeping us alert. But in the animal kingdom, yawning can also be a sign of dominance, especially among apes and monkeys. Humans mostly yawn out of fatigue, but here's the weird part. We also yawn when we see someone else yawn. Therefore, if you just yawned while reading this, congratulations, you're part of the mystery. 2. A full moon rises, and a wolf throws its head back, howling into the night. But here's the truth. Wolves don't actually howl at the moon. Howling is their way of staying connected, even across miles of wilderness. Therefore, their eerie calls serve as GPS signals, territory warnings, and roll calls for the pack. But the idea of wolves singing to the moon, that's just a Hollywood myth. 1. You finally reach security, but the agent stops you. You can't bring that water bottle, they say. Why? It's not just about rules, it's about technology. TSA scanners can't tell the difference between water and dangerous chemicals. Therefore, every full bottle is treated as a potential threat. But there's a loophole. An empty bottle is fine. Fill it up after security, and you won't have to spend $5 on airport water. That's all for today. Subscribe to our channel for more fun videos.